Hi, Anderson families. We want to welcome you to fifth grade to our virtual open house. We are so excited that you are here and that we get to share some information with you about fifth grade. I'd like to introduce ourselves. On the left of our picture, you'll see Miss A, and she is a student teacher in 5W until October 15th. Then you'll see myself, Mrs. Weber. I've been there for about this is my 21st year. Then you'll have Mr. Rubio, and then you have Mrs. Newland. So that's your fifth grade fantastic team, and we are here to help you and to help your child grow and succeed and feel loved and supported while they are at Anderson. As we get through and get started with the year, you should have received an email from one of your child's teachers, because we know that being a teacher is hard, and being a parent, as we are parents, is even harder, and trying to make sure that we have clear communication is a great thing. And so we are here to help. The best way to get a hold of us is through our email, and our emails are listed here. And we do check those quite often. It's easiest for us to get information to you. If something's missing, we can send you links. So those are definitely good ways for you to, I'm going to move this down, good ways for you to get a hold of us. And also, like I said, you can learn about your child's weekly learning. Each week we try to send out a weekly email about important dates, things coming up, things that we just recently learned, things that they will be learning soon, and any important things that you need to know. So please be on the lookout for the email. If you have not seen one, reach out to your child's teacher or check your spam, so that way we know that you've received that information. So in fifth grade and across Anderson, we have a lot of high expectations for your child, especially as a fifth grader. At all of Anderson, we repeat our Anderson school pledge every morning. We are the Anderson Foxes, and we've changed it to we are respectful, we are responsible, we are safe, and this year we are home, because our theme is that we are home. I've got my Anderson home t-shirt on. And we focus on, in our classrooms, ways that we can foster that feeling of home and being supported. And we really focus on the positives. And so one thing that we do in fifth grade is we use something called CHAMPS, which other grade levels use as well. With activities, we talk about C, the conversation level. What voice level should they be? H, how can they get help? Is it raising hands, talking to a partner, looking around, using resources? What kind of activity are they doing? Is it an independent partner movement? Are they allowed to move with permission? Are we staying seated? What kind of participation? Is it, again, partner, group? So they know what's expected of them so that they can be successful in any activity, because it will change based on the activity. We use something, as you see Mr. Rubio's face on a dollar bill, we use something in fifth grade called class cash, and we use that in all of our specials as well. And that can be if homework is done, if they have a class job, if class jobs are done, if we catch them doing something great in class, something simple. Sometimes if they're taking a risk participating, if they're organized, maybe we check a locker and it looks great, we give them class cash, and they earn those for rewards that we then as a class will decide. They may want to earn certain things as a class. They may want to earn extra recess time. They may want to earn a homework free pass. They may want to earn lunch with a teacher or with a friend. There's some special things that they can do that way. So we are always on the lookout for that. We may ask for $1 back if someone's not quite participating or has homework missing. We might ask for that back, and they know that. Eventually, we'll get to a point where we will just use hand signals to kind of quietly point to them and do this, and they'll know that they'll receive $1. And if we might point to them and say this, that means that they have to return $1. So we're not drawing attention, but they know that the symbol is there. We do use our Anderson blue slips across the entire school to show when we see a student who's being safe, responsible, or respectful. And those also can, if a child gets a blue slip, we do use those. There are incentives with Mr. Jarrett, but also we give class cash in addition to that to really say, hey, you did a great job. And then if we have concerns, you might see a think sheet come home where there might be a situation that we have to talk through, and we want them to reflect on their behavior and think about, okay, was it respectful? Was it responsible? What could I have done better? And we want them to kind of think through that and we would let you know, and the paper would come home. And those are not usually something that we see very often in fifth grade. We try and work through those before those situations before we get to a think sheet stage. But if you have any questions about that, that's where we're at. Our schedule, just so you can see, is an entire fifth grade. This is where our schedule is, the amount of time we have allotted for everything. Our specials will vary based on the class, which you'll see later. And we do have two 40-minute specials. Math is first thing, so we do try and get our math homework checked in. So if people are missing math homework, it does tend to be a little bit, makes the morning a little bit hectic. So we really appreciate when kiddos have their work done and ready to go. They have multiple times to use the bathroom as well. Like we try and break it up. So they try and go before specials or after specials, before or after lunch, before or after specials in the afternoon. So that way we're not interrupting our class time. So in case you have to make appointments for things or pull kids out early, you kind of have an idea of what our schedule looks like. It's a pretty packed day. And by the end, they are they're pretty tired. And it's been a long few days, but they're doing really, really well. So these are our specials, and you can see we have art 2 times per week, music 2 times per week. Empower is new this year, and they can tell you a little bit more about that. 2 times per week. We have an LRC block that we go to once a week, and that takes place during might be a science time. And then PE is 4 times per week. We do have 2 PE teachers this year. Your child might have Mr. Smith or Mr. Navis, who's new to Anderson this year. And you can kind of see on the chart what specials your child has each day. 1 in the morning and then 1 after lunch. And then if we do have an early release day, the schedule for specials changes by about 10 minutes or so. It's very minimal. And our lunch is the last lunch, so we do encourage you to send your child with a snack, because they go to recess first from 12:20 to 12:40, and then lunch is 12:40 to 1 o'clock, the very end. So they do tend to get hungry, and they're growing fifth graders. And so if they have PE in the morning as well, they do tend to be hungry. And we do take a snack and mask break in the morning. So it's a great thing to send your child with a snack to keep them fully energized and ready to go. If you have questions about that, let us know. Sometimes kids will order the free breakfast and save whatever the breakfast is, besides the milk, obviously, and keep it as a snack for the next day, which is a great strategy too. And we do ask that they keep a water bottle. Try to have one that's not having to be turned, but maybe that's like a squirt, or that has a water, like a spout, so they can just kind of put it under their mask and drink that way. It's a little bit easier, and we have less spills in the classroom. So we are coming back to a lot of traditions this year at Anderson. Last year we had to do some COVID style, some we had to kind of hold off on, change our schedule. We missed out on a few, but we've been trying really hard to maintain as much of these traditions for our fifth graders, because we know that they've been waiting for them, and it means a lot to them. And it's kind of their way to leave their mark on the school before they leave and go on to middle school. So you'll see we do have some coming up that I'll talk about. We do have the fifth grade handprints. That's at the very end of the year. They do get to paint their hand and write their name and leave their handprint on the wall. Dress code, we do talk about a little bit, just because sometimes we have, with both boys and girls, we need to make sure that the shirts kind of cover their waist. So if they were to raise their arms, that their shirts don't come up too high. And then we don't allow hoods and hats within the classroom. In human growth and development, that talk usually comes in February or March. Last year it was a little bit later because of COVID and different things, but we just break the boys and the girls apart into 2 different rooms, and they have a presentation that's just about their body and their changes, and that'll come probably, like I said, around the springtime. We do the 12 Days of Christmas, which is like a 30+ year tradition at Anderson, and they act out the 12 Days of Christmas song with hula hoops, with basketballs, with movements. And last year we did it outside and recorded it in about October, so we had it just in case. We might do the same thing this year, but we're going to carry on that tradition. We have the fifth grade volleyball versus the staff game. In previous years, we've done that before spring break, but we weren't there last year before spring break. and we moved Spirit Week to the end of the year, which actually worked out better. We were able to play the fifth grade volleyball versus staff games outside and practice outside. So that may be something that we see again this year. Our intramural teams are coming back. Mr. Rubio will be working with that. He does a great job at recess of trying to set up basketball teams, soccer teams, hockey teams. I think he does there are a couple other ones, handball, and they have captains, and we kind of do like a bracket kind of a system, and then the winning team will play some staff members. We don't do a fifth grade graduation, but at the end of the year, we do what's called a fifth grade hero breakfast / sing. Last year, we didn't do the singing part, but they do kind of a hero ceremony celebration. It's a great event. They talk about their heroes. They think about moving forward, how they can be a hero, important people who have shaped them in their lives. And we will invite you to have a part in that as well. Unfortunately, this year for birthdays, we are still not able to send any kind of treats in. We will still have class parties. We don't know what those will look like, but they will still be there. And we just found out that we will be able to have field trips. So fifth grade in the past has gone to the wetlands as we learn about ecosystems. So that looks like that might be something that we will find out information soon on. And then we go to another place called Camp Duncan, and that focuses on kind of the social emotional learning, the team building. There's a wall climbing thing. There's a lot of PVC pipe. They have to work together to create things. So that's a great trip. I believe Redling goes there as well. And in the past, Redling has, I think, stayed over, but we only go for a day trip. And it's a great trip. Math and science. So I'm going to talk to you about math, and then I'm going to hand over science to Mrs. Newland. So math, as you know, right now we're in Module 1, and this is probably the most important foundational unit as we move into the rest of the fifth grade year in math, because place value and understanding how numbers work on the place value chart with fractions and decimals will lay a foundation for working with larger numbers, fractions, adding and subtracting them, and being able to manipulate them. So our daily routine is that there's usually some type of fluency. An application problem usually either reviews what we learned the day before or will set us up for that day's lesson. We go through a few problems. Fifth grade, you will see that in the problem set and the homework, there are way more problems in there than we need. And we will pick and choose problems that will fit what we want to practice. And then sometimes you'll see there'll be a review that they can go back and work on problems that we did not go over. And that's a great review for them when we send that home. They have an exit ticket every day they do in class for us to check, and it will be scored. And if we think it needs to be retaught, we will reteach it. And you'll see an initial or some kind of marking from us that we retaught it with your child. We debrief at the end of the lesson, and then you'll see what the homework is. And the homework should pretty much mirror what happened in the problem set. I will give you fair warning that the math in fifth grade is quite difficult. However, we have full confidence that your kiddos who have been in Eureka Math now since probably first grade or kindergarten should do pretty well, because a lot of this is not new to them. So each assessment we do for each module will have, and each mid-module will have a pre and a post. We'll give the pre, and then we'll have the post, and you'll get that on one rubric, and you'll see the scores from the pre to the post, and you should be able to see the growth that is made. So we have that in there for each mid-module and each end of module, and they will set some goals that way. So like I said, again, we're really focusing on place value. And if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to us. We understand that this math is not the way that most of us learned when we were younger, so we are here to help. So I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Newland, who's going to talk to you about science.
Thank you so much, Miss Weber. Hi, everyone. I am Mrs. Newland, and I am excited to talk to you about science, reading and writing, and then word study in fifth grade. I'm going to make my screen just a little bit bigger for everyone to see. Give me a minute. Okay, so science in fifth grade is so much fun. It's very hands-on. We work through the inquiry design process. So It's also referred to as the PLTW design process, but we start by asking lots of questions. We do some exploration. We build models, or we draw models, or we act out models. We evaluate the data or our understanding or information. We seek to explain things and concepts. And then, based on those explanations, we might start the whole cycle over again and ask more questions and explore more, and so on and so forth. We use two different programs to help us engage the kids in their understanding. So we use Mystery Science. They have a ton of great videos and then hands-on activities. And then we do PLTW, which is Project Lead the Way. And there's a ton of hands-on activities with those programs as well. So in fifth grade, you can expect, while we're in science, our science modules, your kids are going to be up and moving, collaborating with each other, asking questions, building models, exploring, lots of hands-on fun activities. We have 5 different units that we explore in fifth grade. The first one is energy and matter and ecosystems. That's the one we're currently working on right now. Infection detection, which is our first Project Lead the Way module. Then we move into astronomy, matters, and then we end the year in another Project Lead the Way robotics module. So lots of fun. I hope that your child is enjoying science so far. Ask your child what he or she is learning. It is a lot of fun. Okay, so we're going to dig into reading, writing, and word study next. Try to get this out of the way. Okay, so in reading and in writing, we follow a workshop model, and we share this with the kids too. We share with the students that they can expect every day for us to teach them one thing, one concept, one skill, and that is during our mini lesson. So it's mini because we're targeting one idea. Then we spend time practicing that one skill. But the great thing about workshop is that we invite your child to practice that skill that we just taught that day. However, as workshop gets rolling, they're going to find, and we find, that there's so many different skills that we're teaching on a weekly basis. Like Monday we'll teach one thing, Tuesday is another thing. It will build on what we taught, but we invite your child to practice that skill. But as your child gets more and more proficient with the workshop model, they might choose to work on something different that better suits their needs as an independent reader or writer than what that daily skill was. But at the beginning of the year, we'll teach it. We always say, okay, here's what we're learning. Let's practice this. And then what happens is we will be then conferring with your child on that skill, or meeting with your child in a small group on a targeted skill that he or she needs. As the year goes on, your child might then feel more comfortable choosing from a list of strategies that we've taught, but we keep things a little bit more guided at the beginning of the year. The other great thing about workshop is that we give your child lots of choice in what he or she is reading. So we encourage your child to be reading a book that they love, a book that they're interested in. We teach strategies on how to pick out just right books. And so your child gets to read lots of different books, from his or her own choice. We will, at times, try to steer your child towards a book that would be better suited for what we're learning or what skill we're practicing. But we always like to give your child that responsibility and ownership of picking out a book, and teaching them how to pick out a book that's going to challenge them and lift their level of reading. We have 4 different units in our during our 5th grade year that we focus on in reading. Our first one is our fiction unit. It's called Interpretation Book Clubs. We focus heavily on understanding character and then theme, and then comparing and contrasting characters. We think of comparing and contrasting characters and then also themes. We also think about how a part of the story is very significant to the whole part, to the whole theme. And then we also talk a lot and teach and learn and practice how an author deliberately and intentionally puts words together or describes something or highlights something using specific craft to show us as readers something important in the text. We then move into informational or nonfiction reading, and we have a heavy emphasis then on understanding what a main idea is and supporting details. And we work in really complex informational text. And because the text is so complex, we can often pull out more than one main idea, which is something that we focus on doing and learning and practicing in fifth grade. Our third unit is our argument and advocacy unit, which is a lot of fun. The kids like this a lot because we get to understand and interpret arguments. And we're still in that informational nonfiction text band, but instead of just thinking about a main idea, which we still are focusing on, but we're also thinking about what an author's argument is and what main idea the argument is supporting. And so we are evaluating the strength of an argument and understanding what the argument is and how strong it is, where are the supporting details and the supporting reasons, and what evidence backs up that argument and those reasons. And then finally, our last unit of the year is fantasy book clubs. And this is also a super fun one. Kids work in book clubs. They work to understand, again, theme, comparing themes. We work to understand characters, why a certain part of the story is important to the whole. We again focus on that author's craft, but it's within a really fun genre with magic and fantasy and fantastical objects. So it tends to be a very favorite unit for all of us in fifth grade. So writing, we try to support whatever we're doing in reading. We try to find a unit that supports what we're doing in reading within our writing. So the writing units start with narrative craft. We go to journalism, poetry, argument. We'll be writing arguments the same time we're reading them. Then essays, and then memoirs. We end the year with a memoir. Something that's really important that we do in fifth grade is goal setting with writing, and students set SMART goals for each unit based on we have a progression of learning skills, and those skills are targeted on the lead, transitions, ending, organization, elaboration, craft, spelling, and punctuation. At the beginning of each new writing unit, the students take a pre on demand. So it's a prompt. They write for 45 minutes. We take that writing, we score it based on the rubric. We give them a score. We sit down with each one of them. We set some goals based on where they fell on the rubric. And then during workshop, and during those mini lessons, we are targeting those skills, and we're hoping to move your child over on the rubric and strengthening their skills as writers. So it really is a beautiful thing once we get into the flow of it. Kids are goal setting. They are monitoring their goals, and they're really self-reflecting and self-assessing too. So it's a really awesome thing. And your child will make a lot of growth because it's not just us teaching them, it's them taking ownership of what they want to learn based on the rubric and based on their goal, and then seeing success when they accomplish that goal. And then finally, we have word study. Word study is a huge part of our day. Well, not a huge part, but it's an important part of what we do as readers and writers. And in fifth grade, our focus is on the Greek and Latin roots. So the meaning of those different roots. And you can see the different roots that fifth grade focuses on. And we do a lot of really fun activities to help your child understand them, but we also apply it to what we're reading and we're writing. And it's really neat to see when we pull out words from what we're reading, or we're working on trying to use descriptive language, or something in our writing, to try to find where those Greek and Latin roots fit into those words. And so our goal in fifth grade is that your child becomes a stronger reader and stronger writer because of their knowledge and understanding of the origin of words, which is those Greek and Latin roots. All right. I am going to hand it over to Mr. Rubio, who is going to talk to you about technology. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Hello, parents. My name is Mr. Rubio, and I'm going to be talking to you about technology. Um, in our school, we use the Chromebooks on a daily basis. We have to make sure that the students bring it with them every day, and that they bring them charged. Usually, the Chromebook, if it's charged overnight, it will last the whole day at school. It's important that they bring it because even though we do have some extra Chromebooks at school, if many students in our school forget their Chromebooks, then we could be one of those days that we don't have one for the student, and that could hinder their learning for the day. Um, Also, in fifth grade, we use Google Classroom as our platform to push assignments, to post announcements for the students, uh, and students have the availability of accessing this through home. They all have learned already how to access a Google account, so it's very simple, and they know how to maneuver it and how to go the way around to finding the assignments when they're posted for them. Another important thing that we require the students to have in fifth grade is headphones. Um, we need a good set of headphones for them to keep at school. Many times when we're in class, they might be required to watch a video or to listen to a recording, and it's important that they have that so they're not disturbing other students while they're listening. They don't get distracted themselves. Um, One of the things that we also why we need the Chromebook with the students at school is because we have access to many online programs, and these programs help us support the learning throughout the day. Um, these programs are accessed at school, so of course we need the Chromebook with them at school. And a lot of these programs, the students can access them also through home. And again, we have gone over some of those components already with the students at school of what they can access. Excuse me. Homework. Homework is we have a set of standards of what we want the students to follow on a daily basis. We might have some of these you know added to their homework for the day, or some of them might not apply based on the day. For example, we're expecting the students to read about 30 minutes every day. Make sure that they are getting to be able to read 30 minutes a day. So we want to make sure they're building their stamina. If they're not at 30 minutes yet, if they're not able to stay for 30 minutes, then we ask them to progress, read 15 minutes, and then perhaps the next day or the following week go up to 20, and then eventually have the students read at least 30 minutes a night. As far as the math homework that the students receive, in our classrooms, we work on with the math book, and we do the problem set books, problems. I'm sorry, and then the homework that we assign the students reflects, and it goes over similar problems than what we did in class. So the kids, when they do it at home, they get a chance to reinforce their learning of the that they had in class. And it should not take more than 15 minutes. That should be something that can be done fairly quickly for the students. We have been having on a daily basis right now handwriting assignments for the students, and we will have also word study activities for them to be able to continue what they were doing in class at home. At times, we will also be assigning the students iReady lessons. We have not done that yet. We just finished our assessments, the diagnostic assessments. So we will be, at times assigning this for the students as well. Excuse me. We have what we called student-led conferences, with the student-led conferences, the students take ownership of their learning, and they're the ones that pretty much lead the conference. One of the things that you, based on how the school year is going, they might have to happen over Zoom, or they might happen in person. We will let you know as we will approach these dates. What will be the format of us to talk about the students' progress and successes, and to have, of course, a plan of action of what to do next. So if you have any questions, we will be sending to you a Google form in regards to this presentation with any questions. Of course, you can also email us if you have any questions. You can email any of your teachers, and we will gladly help you. I hope our curriculum and presentation was helpful, informative, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can also do it through the form that we're going to be sending you. Thank you.